Hi, my name is Jim Amorati, and I'm a member of the Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club here in New Lenox. We're here on a Sunday morning, February 25th, 2024, and we're doing a prototypical or a prototype run today, which basically is an informational type of run which gives us an idea of what the engineers and the conductors of the passenger lines do, and also from the aspect of the freight trains where the engineer and the yardmasters or the tower control individuals tell the engineer of the freight yard what to do. There are 6 lines running today. We're going to have passenger trains and freight trains. Passenger trains will have an engineer running the train and also a conductor telling the engineer basically when to stop and what stops are going to be made on the line, and it also tells the engineer when to leave the station when all the passengers safely are on board. The freight trains are running also with a conductor telling the engineer about what freight cars they're going to be picking up to run, what freight cars are going to be dropping off at certain stations, and we'll see how this all works out today. It's basically going to be an informational video. We're doing this for the first time at the club, and we hope that everything runs fine, and let's get started.
Is everyone familiar with the guidelines and the map? So welcome and thanks for your participation today. I need to extend that thanks, though, particularly to a couple people who have been very, very helpful in putting all this together. Herb and Bill Traskus have been terrific in testing the layout and helping me review everything, giving feedback before the session. Really appreciate your involvement and dedication to this. Also, Jeff's been very helpful in again working on the layout to make sure it was in good shape for today. And also, all of the labels you see around the layout are due to Jeff. So Jeff, thanks for that. Without names of these places, it really can't take life for something like this. So that's very, very important. And we have a volunteer today who's going to be assisting me with the dispatcher role, and Charlie is going to do that. He'll be tracking your trains as they go around and helping me give clearance to you. So everything has to start with names of places and orientation. So the layout is divided into 4 divisions. There's the upper belt line, the canyon, and the mountain. And then within each of these divisions, there's districts. So the districts are where you're going to take freight and drop it off or pick it up. So the divisions, there's the power division, there's the on the lower level, there's Elston Yard, and there's the lumber district. On the top, there's the water tower district. So each of those are labeled with a hanging baggie, and that hanging baggie will be where the car cards are for any things that you're picking up in that district, or if you drop something off in that district, you leave the car card in there. We'll come back to car cards, but I'm trying to concentrate on orientation of the layout. General orientation is east to west of everything, and north to south is labeled on the map, but there's nothing that's in those scenarios that are directions of north to south. So it's all either east to west, but most importantly, it's clockwise and counterclockwise. I'm typically giving them as counterclockwise or clockwise. So, and it gets confusing, and you have to use your map and you have to use your visual to kind of get an idea. So what really helps me is I just kind of make a circle on the map of the clock counterclockwise or clockwise, and then I can see where the tracks are going. There's a couple of other important places. There's Union Station, which is on the Beltline. There is Beltline Yard, which is on the Beltline. There's Allentown and Allentown Station, which is on the Mountain Division. And Allentown's like right in the middle of that side of the mountain, and then the station is right next to it. On the canyon, there's Garrard Station, and here is Railtown Station. So Garrard is over by the lumber area, Railtown is right here in front of us. And then there's the coal district. The coal district has a special train dedicated to it, a unit train that's going to pull coal cars from the coaling area to the power district. And I think that's enough for physical orientation. Let's talk about roles. 2 roles on a train crew, equally important. However, the conductor is in charge of the train. The railroad gives authority to the conductor over the consist, and that authority is safely delivering the goods to wherever they're supposed to be shipped to. The train doesn't move in spite of authority given by the yardmaster or the dispatcher until the conductor says we're ready to go. The conductor has some paperwork to do. He's handling or she's handling the car cards, and we have to make sure that the conductor's ready to go. Conductor throws all the switches. Conductor makes sure that the the accessory tracks are ready, and nothing is in the way of moving that consist forward according to the instructions. All right, and then the engineer, it communicates back and forth with the dispatcher and with the yardmasters and with other trains if necessary. And so the engineer is getting the authority and then conveying to the conductor, all right, we've got authority to move. Let me take a sidestep on that. The scenarios are all laid out from one point to another. So you'll request clearance past a point, and you'll get clearance up to a point. Then there's the next role to talk about is the yardmaster. The yardmaster has authority over anything going on in the yard. So they're going to give you track assignments, they're going to give you clearance to come into the yard, and they're going to give you clearance to leave the yard. They also have authority to give mainline authority for a very short distance. So if you're jumping from the Allentown Yard up on the mountain to the water tower district, west end of the yard, there's just a very short part of the main line you have to cross. So there's no need to come to the dispatcher for that. The yardmaster can give you that little bit of authority. So you move across that quickly, and the yardmaster will help you watch for any traffic that might be conflicting. So that's a visual authority. There's also a hostler role that may or may not be fully done by the yardmaster. That can be done by the train crew as well. And what the hostler mostly does is get the consist physically ready to go. So if let's say your scenario calls for a start at the fueling station for a diesel, which is down on the canyon level, the hostler can bring that over to the yard for you, or the hostler can say, you go do it. So the hostler and the yardmaster are one and the same. The hostler is a combined engineer and conductor that really just cleans up the yard. And the dispatcher, when you, the engineer, are ready to move the train, the conductor says, yeah, we're ready to go. You call to the dispatcher, say this is train 80 to dispatcher. Go ahead, 80. Train 80 requests authority from switch 10 to track, to the ramp, to the mountain division, to track 96. And then the dispatcher comes back and say, train 80, you're clear to switch 81 or 82 on track 96 or track 97. So that's the conveyance of your authority to move. You repeat that back. So you'd say train 80 to switch 82, train 80 out. And that completes the communication. That's done by the engineer. Once you get that clearance and you've repeated it back and make sure you understand it, then you're ready to move. So every car that's moving on the railroad needs to have a car card. And what the car card tells you is what is that card, or what is that car? And excuse me, I have an example right here. So the car card has the type of car, in this case it's a hopper. It has the number, car number, so in this case it's ACFX 96174. And then that car is owned by, or the name on the car is ACF. So that you should be able to tell any car on the railroad and match that up to the car card. The car cards travel with the train. So if you are picking up a car in the water tower district, there's a plastic sleeve, and in this case it's right. Bill, can you point to where the plastic sleeve is there for water tower? There, each one of the freight districts has a sleeve for the cars. So if you're picking up a car in the water tower district, this card will be in there. When you get there, you take the card and you put it in your packet. So if I could borrow yours, Pat. Every conductor has a packet like this. This is holding the cards that are in that consist. So when you pick up a car, you take the card, you put it in here, and then it goes along with you in the train.
That's not going to be an issue for the passenger trains, right?
It is not an issue. Passenger trains don't have the car cards. They don't pick and drop. In our scenarios, they don't pick and drop them. So if you are picking up a car, you will find the card already in that plastic sleeve. So you take that card out of the plastic sleeve and you put it in the envelope, the plastic bag that we're going to do in a second is making sure that you have car cards for all the cars you're pulling. So we'll take just a little time to not only do that, but to make sure all the cars for your consist are spotted where they're supposed to be. And that in your description of your scenario, the last page always has the staging of what cars are going to be there for you at the start and what kind of cars you need. So we'll go through that individually and get you going. All right. Some of the scenarios require a sorting step. So you'll pull the consist into a yard, and then you've got to break that consist down to where it's going by, it's either an eastbound, a westbound, or a holding, because it's not scheduled yet to go out on another train. An example of that would be an empty. So you have to sort that into the various tracks. The yard master will help you with that. But what you're doing is you're getting the train ready for the next step, either final delivery or it's going to be picked up by another interchange run that takes it further down the line, maybe to another railroad. So when you get to the sorting, the yard master will help you with that. There is no overall schedule as far as you got to be somewhere by this time. We're gonna the dispatcher, me, will start you. So when everyone's ready, I'll say, okay, dispatcher to train 80, you're ready to go, and then I'll give you your clearance instructions. And we'll just do it that way instead of running on like a railroad time schedule. If there are any mechanical problems, we're going to give you 2 shots to fix it. Third shot, you got to switch equipment. All right, so if your train is not picking up the power well enough, you can try cleaning it quickly and then get it back on there. If that solves the problem, fine, we'll give you another if not, we'll give you another shot. Third time, you got to switch it to another engine. Okay? And same thing, let's say a car is is derailing for whatever reason. If you try and fix it, it works, okay. If not, you're out. Just that car, you're not off the layout, you just got to substitute it. Spectators, of course, are welcome, and thank you for coming. But please be attentive to the movements that the train crews need to do. I want them to be following their trains. So you should not stand in the canyon when your train is running out here. You should be with your train so you can see what's coming at you, you can see any problems instantly. And then there will also be the radio communications. So be attentive to your conversation so you don't put noise in the background that will confuse the conversation. What we'll be doing is we'll be tracking your trains on magnet boards. So we will see, hopefully ahead of time, who's in the way, and we'll hold. On your controller, there's the red triangle, the kill switch. If you need to, if something's coming up unexpected and you think there's going to be a crash, hit the kill switch, and we'll figure out what's going on.
That kills
So,
everybody else, though.
I understand that. I'd rather do that than
Okay.
start yelling at each other, and then the next thing you know, you haven't understood each other and the trains collide. So let's use that, the kill switch, and then we just have to, how do you reset the layout then? So everyone doesn't have, is that a big?
Everybody resets their own track.
I think that's it. I think the next step is, let me finish this. The next step is to go to the end of your scenario, look at the staging instructions, and get those staging instructions all ready. Get a car card for every one of your cars. Make sure the car card is in the right place. And then once we're all ready, we go. Let's get rolling on the CL.
Pray for a safe voyage.
That's right.
I'll put them in the middle. Is that okay?
Dispatcher to switch 40 to train 45.
45 here. Go ahead, dispatch.
You're gonna get clearance to the second step, so you're cleared past switch 55 and across the bridge to the Canyon Division.
Somebody killed the power?
Yeah, turn it back on.
5E, counterclockwise and across the bridge to T97, hold short of 96. Okay, let's train 3891, hold at your point.
3891 holding,
This is dispatcher to train 45 and to train 3891. We have a conflict we're trying to work out. I didn't expect the coal train to get this far this fast, so give us a second to work it out.
Roger, 45 still holding. 3891 still holding.
This one is going to try and go to where that one is. So I got to move that one out to let this one in. So
This is train 85 request dispatcher clearance to track 97 counterclockwise to switch 81.
all right, so he is
His next holding right here.
provides clearance to T97 counterclockwise. So he's going to come down here.
Yeah.
He can go. This end.
What is the number?
Train 85, dispatcher.
Go ahead.
You have clearance to track 97 counterclockwise. Make one lap on T97 counterclockwise and hold at switch 94.
10-4 over now.
So he comes over, he drops, yeah, he goes all the way around, and then he holds there. Perfect. That's perfect. Perfect. So now what you want to do is you want to block, put a red dot right here, so no, I don't put anyone down on top of him. Yes, perfect.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna tell him when I get there.
I-1 to dispatcher. I've been apprised by the yard master that I need to hold at 59 because another train's gonna come by.
That's fine, then you proceed to 55.
10-4.
45 proceeding, 217, a little short.
I got a turn in time.
Track 27. This is gonna switch automatically, but I'm okay with it.
Is it 61 there? 61.
Hold on.
Take your time, dispatcher.
All right, so wait a minute, we gave these guys clearance to track 98, right? I can bring them up here, these guys are coming this way off. Dispatcher to train 85,
Go ahead.
where are you, train 85?
Holding at clearance of switch 10.
You gotta have that sweet spot. All right. Ready? Yeah. Press. Let go.
I didn't want to follow switch 18. I only had a short of 17.
Hit it again.
On track 98 to switch 14 and hold, that's track 93, and then hold at switch 16, short of 16. Please repeat that to me.
Go ahead on track 98, hold at switch 16.
But you're going to take switch 14 to track 93. You're going behind the garage station and holding at switch 16.
10-4.
We can do it all verbally if you want, that's fine.
You know, first thing I want to say is, Tom, thank you so much for putting this together.
Yes.
So much work was put into it ahead of time. And
I just want to say something else. It's a learning curve for all of us. You know?
Amen. All right. All right, you all right?
No matter how real dispatchers do this,
Yeah.
your head has to be spinning.
Well, a little bit.
How do you feel your train board location buttons worked out for you? Because I was not involved in watching it happen, so how do you feel that worked out for you? Well, medium, poor?
I think the boards were accurate as far as where switches were and labeling of track, but that doesn't easily translate in from my head to the paper to someone else understanding that and finding it on the layout. So, because it's a very complicated layout.
You told me like to go to switch 55. I had no idea where it was.
Yeah.
So I said, I will proceed when I find it.
Right.
And then I notified you that I did find it. Okay.
Yeah, you did. So communication was good
No.
in spite of the confusion on locating things on the layout.
You know what you and Jeff did ahead of time, labeling a lot of the switches that weren't labeled?
Yeah, Jeff did.
Big deal. I mean,
It was huge,
yeah.
huge. That helped a lot.
It ran for a first attempt with a lot of people not knowing much of anything about operations.
Yeah.
I think it went very, very well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
I expected some confusion, but what I hoped for is that if you had a confusion meter and a fun meter, that the fun meter would be higher than the confusion meter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you feel the communication was between the various engineers and your dispatcher in protocol-wise, identifying themselves and then saying what they're doing, when
Yeah,
they're doing it?
yeah.
Was that
I
well
think-
done, in your opinion?
I think it was it was a well attempted, but needs practice on both sides. I mean, I would sometimes not follow the protocol either, because I'm thinking of 2 or 3 things at a time, getting frustrated, and therefore my communication got more abrupt. So I think in a real railroad, I mean, you got to have that down before they let you take the controls, right? So this is rookie training in a simulator. Yeah. I think the first 1 or 2 communications went pretty well, but as we started to get confused, then that broke down a little bit. And I think the radios, there was a physical challenge with the radios too, pushing the button, learning how to talk in that. So when I first thought this, I thought we were going to be yelling at each other. I'm glad we went to the radios. That's a little easier to use, but still, it's another element to practice. Did you guys try and use the car card system, or did that just kind of fall by the wayside?
I think it fell by the wayside.
Yeah, that was another layer of complexity that, in hindsight, I should have just left off.
We had too many things to think about
Yes.
instead of the cards. So it was a good learning experience for me. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think all in all, Tom, you know, you presented a lot of detail. I think the only thing that probably on our part, as far as the engineers and the trains themselves, I think once we get familiar with procedures and where things are, I think it'll go a lot smoother. I mean, there were certain instances where I was okay to go through that you held
Which
me.
you told me a number of times.
Yes, yes. From a standpoint of when I was the dispatcher for the first one, and after about a half hour got overruled by everybody. I mean, it was something that you had to grasp and be familiar with, and I think once we get that far, it'll roll really nice and smooth.
Yeah, there's
I mean, I had a lot of fun.
well, good, I'm glad.
I learned a lot, that's for sure.
It's, would it be helpful to have the same engineer and conductor work together again and get familiar as a team, or do you think that
I would
matters?
say absolutely.
Yes.
In the reading I've done on prototype operations, almost exclusively, the layouts are point-to-point with single track main lines and passing tracks. So you avoid conflicts a lot easier that way. And the industries are off of the main line. So you're not posing with the main line while you're trying to drop off cars. You go into a siding, sort of like what's here in the Elston division, where you can work from off the main line, serve it, drop cars, pick up cars. But we're just not like that, so it makes it a little harder to implement some
You know,
of
you
these
could
things.
play in the industrial area as well like that, Tom.
Yeah,
That was set up so you could play with switching without bothering the main line and only briefly.
yeah. So some places here are better than others for working
Another
cars.
thing you might consider, Tom, is one of the observers to be stationed at the cabinet to be resetting breakers when we trip them.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody doesn't have to walk all the way over there and do it. That takes enough
Yeah.
time to explain, just to watch the lights, reset the breakers if necessary.
Yeah.
The guy's an observer anyway,
All
right?
right, maybe we ought to move towards wrapping this up. Any other final comments that
Well, I've been to the Elmhurst HO Model
Yeah, I'm
Railroad
familiar with
Club,
them.
and see, there's a dispatcher who's upstairs, and there's trains run like on that layout like everywhere, and like when you have to call to the dispatcher, I mean, I know it's a lot more easier.
I'd like to
With
go
the
and
thesis party, right?
take a visit and
The main thing, they have a linear layout. Even if it's around the wall or zigzagging in and out,
Yeah.
it's a long spaghetti
Yeah.
layout. They would love to do that. We do. They have.
All right, one last call for any final comments? Do you have any comments? Did you have fun?
Yes.
I wish you would have. I wish you would have run a train next time.
I got a
you know?
complaint though.
Yeah.
Rosemary didn't help at all.
We were out of this.
Rosemary was the runner. She was helping to try and figure out what you all were doing.
So were we. We were trying to figure out what we were doing.
No, that's why I kept running back and forth.
All I gotta say is wow.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. I think I have everyone's email except for Seth. Can I get your email because you didn't sign up ahead of time, did you? I don't think I. If you have, do you have an email?
Yes.
All right, let me get that before you go, so that I can communicate. Oh, we'll send out some kind of a postmortem on this.
Well, Tom, thank you very much. Super day, super time. And like Charlie said, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bottom line.
All right. Thank you all for participating.
Good job, Tom.